A swill, that's a new word.
So, I'm going to chop this off because they've been in the fridge a little while. So the beauty about this dish is that you put the sauce all together and then you layer the lasagna, and it's very simple but also incredibly delicious. And if you are vegetarian, this is like heaven. But even if you're not vegetarian, there is no reason why you should not try it. Although I'll give you a little option. If you're a meat eater and you insist in having some meat, you can add some sausage or some pork mince. I'll tell you when though. I'm starting by grating a couple of zucchini or courgette, depending where you live in the world. And by the way, if you use a cheese grater, like I've just grated some parmesan here on this side, and this is the larger teeth, which is great. You will find that as long as you get hold of the little end on your zucchini, you are safe, and you can even go fast. And as you get towards the end, you slow down, otherwise you'll end up making human beings. You don't want that. And see, you can get hold of the little part over here, which is really hard, and just control it. And I'll show you what you get. Look, this is absolutely perfect. So that's a little bit left here, so I'll finish this one. I'll do the second one, and then I'll do the same with the carrot. Okay, so that's number 2 done. And whilst I've got everything still dirty, I've got a carrot. I've scrapped this, by the way, so I kept the peel. Again, I'll get hold of the bit which is called the end, and I'll do exactly the same, up and down, and I'll mix it with my zucchini. And there you go, that's number 2 done. By the way, I did do some prep earlier, and I grated some cheddar and some Parmesan cheese. So if you're going to be making this recipe, ensure you do it also fast, because by then your cheese grater will be a little bit dirty, so it's easier.
Francesco's tip of the day.
And I start moving my vegetables inside a pot now, so don't need to add any oil yet. Just make some space on your chopping board. There we go. I'm going to be using a leek next, so I'm chopping the little bottom over here. I'll go at the top and only remove the very, very green part. And I've given this a good wash. No need to remove any more. And of course, you can also use an onion, by the way. You do not have to go for leeks. But if you like your lasagna to be lovely and smooth, I would actually stick with leek. And also the texture is smoother, and the flavor, of course. But if you prefer, or you do not maybe have access to leeks, you can also use an onion, red or white, it doesn't matter. Red is a little bit sweeter. But whatever you do, regardless if you're using an onion or a leek, make sure that when you chop it, you chop in very little pieces like this. The trick here is that we are making a sauce, and the sauce needs to ensure that doesn't go anything big inside it. So just like the carrots and the zucchini, I'm making sure that these are very, very small. And I'll move them across with the other vegetables. I'm going to do this now, and then I can forget about it. A little salt and some pepper. More pepper than salt, as I will be adding cheese later, and the cheese I'll be using is fairly salty, so no need to add a lot of salt. Olive oil, and I'll start mixing it together whilst everything is cold, and I'm using a spatula to ensure that all of my ingredients are combined. Move to the hob, turn the temperature on maximum to start with, and just leave it to sizzle quite vigorously initially for a good 30 to 40 seconds, and that is good. I'm going to turn it down now onto just above medium, like this, number 6, and I will leave it to do its own thing, but I'm going to place the lid on, and it will be there for about 7 to 8 minutes, enough for all of the vegetables to cook together. In the meantime, I'll get the cheese sauce ready. I've measured all of my ingredients already, but everything will be listed in the description of the video as always. So half a liter of milk, and I've also measured 50 grams of plain flour. I will add it now, and then I'm going to use a spoon and mix it together. The milk is cold, by the way, and the flour will soon be absorbed by the milk, as long as you just mix it for about 30 seconds. I did say I was going to give you a meat eater's version. It's very simple. I would definitely use pork products, So just get a couple of sausages or maybe a little pork
Some
pork
bacon.
paste, bacon, absolutely. And chop in little pieces again. Make sure that they're little pieces. Combine it with the vegetables before you turn the hob on. Mix it all together with a little olive oil and then off you go. The important thing is that you just make one sauce.
I just realised you haven't got your tortellino on.
Oh, right.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear. If
Pop
my
him
kids
on.
watch this video, they're going to tell me off.
There we go.
That was it a birthday present? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
There you
was.
go. It's on now. 6-7 minutes in, you will see that all of the vegetables will have shrunk considerably. That's what you should be getting. So I will put this down as it's so hot. Ouch. Next thing is to add the milk and the flour together and give it just one final mix. And whilst it's still on the hob, just progressively add it in and mix it at the same time. And you will see that as everything is hot and obviously the flour has been absorbed by the milk, you will get no lumps. And just carry on mixing. But I'm going to turn the temperature up as the milk is cold. So I now want this to reach the boil. And it will not take very long. It's only half a litre of milk.
I have to say, your way of doing a white sauce or a bechamel sauce is so much easier because I always used to do the butter and then you put the flour in, you cook it off, you add the milk, it goes lumpy, you beat it out.
I know.
Look at that, it's amazing.
This is also lighter as there is no butter, so it will be kinder to you. But do continue mixing, especially as you got the heat on
Look at
high.
that, it's thickened up already.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's wait until it starts bubbling. There it is. I'll turn it down now and I'll leave it on a medium temperature and just no more than about a minute and continue mixing. And this is done. I'll turn it off and we can start putting the lasagna together next. Today I'm using fresh lasagna, by the way, but you can also use the hard durum lasagna. Quantities are going to be the same regardless what you use, but fresh for this particular recipe is slightly better because it will not be absorbing a lot of the liquid. If you were to use the hard durum lasagna, you might want to make your milk and mixture with flour slightly more milkier. And what I mean by that, I've added 50 grams of flour to 500 milliliters of milk. If you're using a hard durum pasta, use 40 grams of flour instead of 50, still 500 milliliters of milk, so that your milk or your sauce will be slightly more liquidy, so that will be absorbed by the pasta. Little tip there for you. Whenever you make a lasagna, this is how I do it, of course. You do the way you want, but I would recommend that you always put a little amount of your sauce, regardless if you're using ragù or if you're making this particular recipe, at the bottom. And this will ensure that your pasta also cooks from the bottom up, but not a lot, because whenever you make lasagna, you always start with a little sauce at the bottom and then you progressively add more and more sauce, because then the sauce will find its way down and you will find the lower layers. So the beauty obviously of using fresh pasta is that you can just put it in and it's very, very easy. And there you go. I'll just put a couple down and then I'll start layering it. I'm going to make approximately 4 layers, maybe 5 if I'm lucky. We'll see, but as I said, I'll start with a little sauce at the bottom like this, and that's perfect. Ensure that you cover all of your pasta, otherwise you'll end up with dry little spots, which we don't want.
Crispy bits, yeah.
Crispy bits, indeed. So that's good. Now, cheese. I've got here 2 types of cheese. I mentioned earlier that I've got some cheddar. This is my chopped cheddar, and some grated Parmesan cheese. Preferences and personal choices. Use whatever you like, but what I would recommend, to ensure that you've got different flavor in your layers, alternate. So I'll start by applying a layer of my cheddar cheese first, back to my lasagna. And this lasagna actually has been in the fridge for a little while, so it's
I did wonder that when I saw it. I thought, blimey, how long have we had that?
About a month.
It's a while.
It's a while, yes.
Still in date though,
Still in
everybody. Don't
date.
panic. Still in date.
But in all fairness, even if it wasn't in date, I would have used it because it's just a recommended date. Unless it goes moldy, you will find that I use stuff that is out of date. I think it's a shame not to really those are recommended dates. But you'll have noticed, by the way, that I'm now applying a little bit more sauce, as I said I would. And there we go, maybe a little bit more over here. So this is layer number 2, and then I'll carry on. But as I said, this time I'm going to apply a generous amount of Parmesan cheese all over my second layer. And I'll continue until either I reach the top or until I have finished off ingredients, lasagna likely, or sauce. So I'll see you at the top layer. Okay, and I've actually used all of my lasagna and I've used all of my sauce, and the amount I'm using is 250 grams of pasta, by the way. So should you replicate this recipe, the measurements are absolutely perfect, as I end up with nothing left over. So this is my last layer. I've managed 5 layers, by the way. So once again, I'll spread it generously using my spoon, just like this. And this time at the top, though, bear in mind that this is the top, I'm going to add a mixture of both cheeses. So I'll do some grated cheddar first.
And how much cheese are we having tonight, dear? Because I can assure you we'll probably finish this off between the two of us. I'm starving.
Someone has been in the garden gardening and
Yes.
come back in looking very flushed.
I was okay until I stopped, and now I feel absolutely shattered and ache all over, but never mind.
And some Parmesan cheese. That's good. Now the next step is very much decorative. You do not have to, but if you like a little bit of colour, by all means just go ahead and slice a few pieces of tomato like I'm doing now. Maybe 3 is enough, 3 good large pieces, and we place them on the top just like this, and once they cook they will be embedded within the pasta. And but before I do that, I'm going to put a little olive oil on top of my tomato and some parsley. I'm going to get it. But before the parsley, a little salt and some pepper, just on top of everything, the pepper there is, and some parsley.
Fresh from the freezer.
Fresh from the freezer, yes, just like this. And this is ready to go in the oven. I will turn it on. Temperature will be 180 degrees fan, if it's a normal non-fan oven or conventional, whatever the word is, 200 for half an hour. You do not need to cover it, by the way, because we want the top to caramelize and looking beautiful. So see you in about 30 minutes. Oh. Look at this. Oh my God.
It smells lovely.
Looks amazing. Oh, literally just out of the oven. One thing I meant to say earlier, which I did just before I went in the oven, was to pierce it. Because I'm using fresh pasta, you can see that has got a tendency of bubbling up. Not if you're using the hard Durham pasta, because it will not be possible anyway. But if you're using fresh pasta, just before it goes in the oven, get a knife and just go on top of your lasagna and pierce it. Obviously I'm doing it now to show you, and just about 6 times, so that it doesn't bubble up and you don't end up with something which looks more like a dome. But this is piping hot, so we're going to leave it for 10-15 minutes and then we can tuck in. See you then. Generally in the morning I am the first one up. I get up quite early actually. 6 o'clock, I've already been up by half an hour normally, and come downstairs and I tend to do some work, some editing. Sometimes I've got to do some work. So by the time Julie's is awake, she sent me a text, by the way, and a text has got the shape of cups of tea and a few little hearts, and meaning I'm ready for my cup of tea. So I reply and I go upstairs, I make a cup of tea. And the general rule is that by then she will have been awake most probably a good half an hour, and she doesn't like to have a cup of tea much before 8 o'clock.
Because I eat and drink during a 10-hour window.
That's where I'm going.
This is where I'm heading.
That's where I'm heading.
All right.
So I go upstairs and I give her a cup of tea, and there are 2 things happening generally. Either she gives me a rundown of what has happened in the world overnight, So even if I don't want to now, I'm going to find out what President Trump might have been up to, or what has
that's
happened.
my
in the
normal
world.
morning rant.
Morning rant, yes. Nothing nice really. It's just a rant, and okay. Or if she didn't have a good night's sleep, she will give me chapter and verses as to why that is. And often, if I've cooked something vegetarian or something with vegetables, I get the blame, and she'll say,
No, you don't.
Yes,
Don't
you
be
do.
mean.
She'll say, "Oh, I was a vegetable swill," or something similar.
A swill. You know, if you have something really liquidy, I always think you feel a swill. That's a new word
So
for you.
I'm half expecting now, bearing in mind that this
looks
very
lovely.
vegetarian-y. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna get the blame if she doesn't sleep.
Main
very
problem
well.
for me is sugar and coffee and tea. That's my main problem.
Okay, so this looks actually really good. I left it
Beautiful.
to sit there for about 10 to 15 minutes, and you can see that actually has come up really nice. You can see my layers, and the little cream is oozing out. So all I've got to do is to just test it. Oh, look at this, Julie, it's perfect.
It's lovely.
I can't wait. Actually, I made this, I think last time, and I don't know why we don't do it too often.
No.
Oh, it's perfect. And also, it's not piping hot anymore. And I'm sorry if I sound boring. Oh, the cheese is beautiful. Sorry, it just kicked in. We tested, we licked the spoon before it went in the oven, and Julie said, "Oh, I might need a little salt." And I said, "No, don't worry, because the cheese will take care of it." We tested the sauce. So do not be tempted to add any more salt, because by the time you put cheese in, it's absolutely beautiful. What was I saying? Oh yeah, because it's cooled down slightly, it's still nice and hot, but not piping hot. You really get to taste it, and it's beautiful. Absolutely delicious. So do not heat it when it's so hot. You eat it now, after 10-15 minutes. And
I will in a minute.
You will really like it. It's wonderful. So simple. And as I said, you cook the sauce, bang it together in the oven, half an hour, 15 minutes, and off you go. Make it, honestly, it's delicious. Ciao, ciao. I'll let you know in my next video if I get the blame for a bad night's sleep. Ciao.